Hey everyone, welcome back to the Profit Driven channel, the place where we unpack what actually works in real-world leadership, not just what sounds good in PowerPoint slides. I'm your host, Maya, and today, we're touching a nerve because we're talking about a question that quietly shapes every decision inside a company. Employee versus client. Who really comes first? And with me is someone who has lived this tension at the highest levels, an HR and management expert who's worked with CEOs, executives, and leadership teams around the world, Dr. Alex. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Maya. I'm really excited to be here, and also slightly nervous because this topic gets people very emotional.
Yeah, I can imagine a few executives already gripping their steering wheels right now, like, if they say employees are more important than clients, I'm turning this off. So let's just go straight into the fire, shall we? Is that actually your position? Do you really believe employees should be the top priority of the company?
Yes, absolutely. And I know some people just rolled their eyes, but let me say it clearly. If you want a company to reach its highest potential, employees must be the top priority. Not in posters, not in slogans, in actual decisions.
Okay, so I can already hear someone yelling at their phone like, but clients pay the bills. So before they explode, can you unpack why you say that? Because on the surface, it does sound a bit controversial.
Yeah, totally. And look, I get the instinct. I was trained in the same customer is king world as everyone else. But here's the simple logic I work with now. Employees create every product. Employees deliver every service. Employees solve every problem. Employees rescue every angry client. Employees embody your brand in every interaction. A company doesn't talk to customers. People do. So if you think about it as a chain, it goes like this. No engaged employees, no delighted customers, no sustainable profits. We love to say we're customer-centric, but if the people serving those customers are exhausted, scared, undervalued, or checked out, the customer will feel it eventually, no matter how many "we value you" emails you send.
So you're basically saying the client is absolutely critical, but the employee is the engine that gets you there.
Exactly. Customers are the destination. Employees are the engine. If you lose a few clients, but your workforce is strong, engaged, and innovative, you can win them back and get new ones. If you lose your best employees, your clients are next.
Okay, that's a pretty powerful way to frame it. I want us to get really practical in this conversation. Like, I want someone listening in a boardroom or in traffic to finish this episode knowing exactly why employees should be first and what that looks like in practice. So let's do this. I'd love to walk through your full argument, almost like a 1-hour masterclass, but in conversation. Can we start with this? Why does this topic even matter for executives? Why should a CEO or senior manager care beyond just sounding nice?
Yeah, great place to start. So imagine we're sitting in a strategy meeting. Top floor, glass walls, spreadsheets everywhere. We're talking revenue, cost, market share, investor expectations. You know the scene. What most executives don't realize is behind every line in that spreadsheet, there's a human being. That extra 5% in revenue. Someone stayed late to fix a client issue. That new product launch. A team argued, tested, and iterated for months. That amazing client feedback. One frontline employee chose patience over frustration. The illusion in management is that we're managing numbers. The truth is, we're managing people who create those numbers. So this topic matters because if you mismanage your people, you're eventually going to mismanage your results. It might not show up this quarter, but it will absolutely show up.
So if I'm an executive and I'm obsessing over dashboards and KPIs, but I'm not thinking at all about the people creating those KPIs, I'm kind of building on sand.
Exactly. You can have the best strategy on paper, but if the people executing it are burned out, scared, uninspired, or actively looking for another job, that strategy is a very expensive fantasy. Ouch.
Ouch. Okay, I want us to go even deeper. You said something to me off-air that I really liked. You said, Alex, I didn't always believe this. I used to be very client-obsessed. Can you take us there? Tell us that story. How did you go from client is king to employee first.
Yeah, so this is where I confess my sins as a manager. Early in my career, I was that classic results manager. If a client yelled, I came back and yelled at the team. If we lost a client, I started hunting for which employee to blame. When we won a client, I praised the product, the strategy, the pricing, and forgot the people. I genuinely believed I was protecting the business. My internal script was, the customer pays the bills. If we lose them, we lose everything, so I have to prioritize them over everything else. On paper, that sounds logical. In real life, here's what happened over time. Some of my best people quietly left. The ones who stayed did just enough not to get fired. People stopped giving ideas because they were tired of getting shut down. And there was this emotional fatigue in the air. We were still hitting some targets, but there was no spark. The turning point for me was when one of my top performers resigned. And I mean, she was gold. Clients loved her, colleagues trusted her, she made things happen. I asked her, kind of desperate, "Why are you leaving?" And she said, "I love the work, I love the clients, but I don't feel like we matter here. The clients are treated like kings. We're treated like we're disposable." And that hurt, because she wasn't being dramatic, she was just telling the truth.
Oof. Yeah, that hits hard.
Yeah, it was one of those moments where you feel your stomach drop. I remember just thinking, yikes, this is what my leadership has felt like to her. I had unintentionally built a culture where employees were tools, not partners. From that point on, I started to ask a new question. What if the most strategic thing I can do for clients and profits is actually to prioritize my people? And over years of experimenting, learning, apologizing, changing, I came to this conviction we're talking about today. You can't build a truly great, sustainable company if your employees are an afterthought.
I really appreciate that you're not positioning yourself as, I've always known the answer, listen to me. There's a real arc there. So let's build from that. Make the business case. Why does employee first make hard financial sense? I want you to speak now to the person who's still thinking, this is all very touching, but I run a business. I answer to a board. I have to show results. What's the hard business case for putting employees first?
Yeah, let's put the feelings aside for a second and talk like CFOs. There are at least 5 big business reasons why employees should be a top priority. Higher productivity and quality of work, better customer experience, more innovation, lower turnover costs, and stronger brand from the inside out. Let me unpack those in normal language, not consultant speak.
Yes, please. No consultant PowerPoint voice.
All right, first, productivity and quality. If someone is engaged, meaning they feel valued, supported, and clear on their role, they don't just work harder, they work smarter. They anticipate problems instead of just reacting. They care about doing it right, not just doing it fast. They take ownership when something goes wrong instead of saying, not my job. If someone is disengaged, they do the bare minimum. They don't double check. They're waiting for 5 p.m. You can't force quality with pressure alone. You can force speed, you can force compliance, but quality comes from someone caring. And that care is directly linked to whether they feel the company cares about them.
So a manager saying, I don't care how you feel, just hit your numbers, is literally eroding the thing they think they're protecting.
Exactly. Short-term squeeze, long-term damage. Second, customer experience. We love to design customer journeys on big posters, all these touch points and smiley faces. But who actually delivers that journey? Employees. You can't script genuine care. No script can say, okay, at 3 minutes and 17 seconds into the phone call, please sound authentically human. Customers will always feel how your employees feel. If employees feel respected, customers feel respected. If employees feel rushed and under pressure, customers feel like they're an inconvenience. If employees feel safe, they can be patient with difficult clients. If employees feel afraid of being blamed, they pass that anxiety on to the interaction. So if you want world-class customer experience, you start with world-class employee experience.
What about innovation? You mentioned that too.
Yeah, think about who actually sees problems and opportunities first. It's rarely the executive sitting 3 layers away. It's the customer service rep who keeps hearing the same complaint. It's the technician who keeps fixing the same weak spot. It's the sales rep who hears what the competitor is doing. If those people feel valued, feel safe to speak up, feel like their voice matters, they'll say, "Hey, I've noticed this pattern. What if we tried X?" If they feel ignored, dismissed, or scared, they keep quiet. They do their job, and they watch your company slowly fall behind. So innovation is not just about labs and R&D budgets. It's about how you treat the people who see reality up close every day.
Okay, now the ugly one. Turnover.
Yep, let's talk about the hidden tax of ignoring employees. When a good person leaves, you don't just lose a body at a desk. You lose expertise, relationships, context, trust with clients, momentum. Then you have to spend money recruiting, interviewing, onboarding, training, and while the new person ramps up, productivity dips, mistakes rise, other people cover extra work and get tired. Not to mention, if the person leaves with a bad taste, they may also damage your reputation out there. It's like constantly changing the tires on a moving car. You can do it for a while, but it's risky and expensive. An employee-first culture doesn't magically stop all turnover. People grow, they move, life happens, but it dramatically reduces unnecessary turnover.
And then the brand piece.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. We think brand is logo, colors, tagline, social media campaigns. But your real brand is what employees say about you when they're at a barbecue and how customers feel after dealing with your people. If your internal reality is, they don't care about us, we're overworked and underappreciated, management is out of touch, that will leak out no matter how good your marketing is. But if employees genuinely say, "I'm proud to work here, my manager has my back, this company is not perfect, but it's fair and it's trying," that is branding you cannot buy.
So basically, making employees a top priority is not being soft. It's actually cold, sharp strategy.
Exactly. This is not a hug fest. It's about understanding where value is really created and protecting that with intention.
What employee first is not? Okay, I love this, but I want to deal with some misunderstandings because I can also imagine managers listening and thinking, employee first? Oh, great. Now they want us to give everyone free massages and never hold anyone accountable. So what does employee first not mean?
Yeah, this is really important. It does not mean being soft or avoiding hard decisions, ignoring customers, buying toys instead of building culture. Let me break that down.
Yes, please. Especially that soft part. A lot of managers are scared of that.
Right. So prioritizing employees does not mean we stop caring about performance. In fact, high performers usually want high standards. Employee first means we will treat you with dignity, give you the tools, clarity, and support you need. In return, we expect you to bring your best and live up to our values. If someone consistently underperforms and they've been given support and feedback, an employee-first culture doesn't say, keep them forever. It says, we will have an honest, respectful conversation and, if necessary, part ways in a humane and fair way. It's not avoiding the hard stuff. It's doing the hard stuff without dehumanizing people.
Not employees versus clients, because I can hear someone thinking, so do we just throw clients under the bus when there's a conflict?
No, it's not a war. It's not employees against customers. It's a sequence. We don't say, forget the customer, we love our staff. We say, we will not consistently sacrifice the health, dignity, or safety of our employees for unreasonable short-term client demands. Sometimes that means we stand up for an employee who did the right thing, even if the client is shouting. Sometimes it means we draw boundaries with a toxic customer. That's not anti-client, that's pro-sustainability.
Not about perks and toys.
Yeah, ping pong tables, bean bags, smoothies, they're fine. I'm not against them. But people don't stay for the ping pong table. They stay for respect, fairness, growth, trust, a reasonable workload, a decent manager. If you have great snacks but bad managers, the snacks just keep people slightly happier while they job hunt.
If you are enjoying this, please like and subscribe because it is the only way we can know that these videos are of importance to you. Okay, so let's flip it. We've cleaned up the myths. Now define it positively. In your view, what does a truly employee-first company look like?
For me, there are 4 pillars. 1, respect and trust. 2, voice and participation. 3, growth and development. 4, well-being and support. Let's walk through them conversationally. Pillar 1, respect and trust.
All right, number 1, respect and trust. Sounds nice. What does that actually look like in daily behavior?
Respect is not a poster on the wall. It's how people feel after they've interacted with you. After a meeting with their manager, does someone feel heard or brushed aside? Valued or used? Safe or anxious? It shows up in small things, like how you give feedback when you're stressed, whether you explain why a decision is made or just bark the order, whether you keep your promises to employees, not just to clients, whether you talk about people in meetings with the same respect you use to their faces. Trust is built when leaders admit mistakes instead of pretending perfection. We're honest about challenges instead of sugarcoating. We don't surprise people with decisions that deeply affect their lives. It's very human. It's not complicated, but it's rare.
Pillar 2, voice and participation. What does that mean in practice?
It means people who do the work get a say in how the work is designed. It looks like asking teams for input before rolling out a major process change that affects them. Creating spaces, town halls, small groups, skip-level meetings, where employees can talk directly to decision makers. Listening to understand, not to quickly shut down and justify. And then, this part is huge, closing the loop. Like, here's what we heard from you. Here's what we're going to do about it. Here's what we can't change yet and why. Because when employees speak up and nothing seems to change, or they never hear back, they stop speaking, and you lose one of your most important risk management systems, honest feedback from the ground.
Third pillar, growth and development. I imagine a lot of people listening are like, yeah, our company says it cares about growth, but I've been in the same role for 6 years, and my development is basically YouTube.
Yeah, that's real. An employee-first company doesn't see staff as just filling seats. It sees them as growing assets. That means providing training that's not just how to use this software, but how to grow as a professional and a person. Having clear internal paths, like if you perform well, these are the roles you could grow into. Giving people stretch assignments, small leadership opportunities, project ownership, chances to try new skills. Managers acting as coaches, not just taskmasters. When employees sense, if I stay here, I will grow. My skills, my career, my options will expand. Loyalty shoots up.
And the last one, well-being and support. This feels soft, but it's so real. What does it mean beyond giving someone a wellness newsletter?
Yeah, please, more than newsletters. It means we remember that employees are humans with full lives, not just KPI-producing machines. Very practical things like designing workloads that are ambitious but not chronically unsustainable. Not glorifying burnout and 16-hour days as proof of commitment. Being flexible where possible when someone is going through something big, illness, grief, family crisis. And recognizing emotional labor careers, like customer-facing roles, and supporting them, not just using them until they snap. An exhausted workforce can't keep delivering excellence. A supported workforce can push through tough seasons because they know the company has their back.
Okay, I love the pillars, but now let's talk to the people with power. Let's say I'm a CEO or a senior manager listening, and I'm thinking, this is great in theory. How do I actually embed employee-first thinking into the way my company runs? Where do you want executives to start?
Great. Let's be very concrete. There are a few key arenas where executives can make or break an employee-first culture: strategy, budgeting, performance management, handling employee-client conflict, and modeling behavior. Let's touch each one.
All right, strategy first. By the way, if you are enjoying this, please like and subscribe and comment on the next topic you want us to talk about. Please go ahead.
When we talk strategy, we immediately go to markets, products, competitors, technology, but we rarely stop and ask, do we have the people capacity to execute this? What will this new strategy demand from our teams? Are we planning any support for them or just dumping new objectives on already maxed out people? An employee-first executive asks, what does this strategy mean for the humans who must deliver it? And are we designing around them, not just revenue graphs? If people are an afterthought in strategy, they'll be an afterthought in execution, and you'll see it in the results.
And then budgeting, where the truth comes out.
Exactly. Budgets reveal your real values. If you say, people are our greatest asset, but every time there's a squeeze, the first thing to go is training, development, and tools that help employees, you've answered the question. They're not your greatest asset. They're your most convenient cost-cutting area. Employee-first budgeting means you invest in developing managers, not just buying new software. You fund proper onboarding, training, and internal communication. You invest in systems that make employees' work easier and more effective, not just systems that give leadership more data. And the CFO becomes an ally in this, not the villain. A smart CFO understands that well-supported employees generate better returns.
Performance management is a big one. How does employee-first thinking change the way we evaluate and reward people?
It changes everything. In an employee-first company, you don't promote or celebrate managers who hit numbers but leave a wake of burnt-out, traumatized employees behind them. You bake how you achieve results into the performance evaluation, not just did you hit the target. You make team health a metric, engagement scores, turnover in that team, internal promotions, and hold leaders accountable for it. If a manager crushes the numbers but people keep leaving their team, that's not a high performer, that's a risk.
This one is very real. What happens when a client complains about an employee? Most organizations instinctively throw the employee under the bus to save the account. What does employee-first leadership do differently?
Yeah, this is a big test of your values. Here's what I recommend. 1. Take the client's complaint seriously. Listen fully. 2. Also take the employee's side of the story seriously. Listen fully. 3. Look beyond the incident. What systems or pressures may have contributed? 4. If the employee made a real mistake, you address it, but you still treat them respectfully. 5. If the employee upheld your values and the client is just being abusive or unreasonable, you protect the employee, even if it risks upsetting the client. There are cases, rare but real, where an employee-first company will say to a client, "We're sorry this partnership isn't working, but we won't allow our staff to be treated that way." You would be amazed how deeply employees remember moments like that.
Yeah, I can imagine the energy in the team when they hear, wow, leadership chose integrity and dignity over quick money.
Exactly. Moments like that write your culture in ink.
And then the biggest piece, the example executive set.
Yeah, leaders are the culture. Employees watch us more than they listen to our emails. They notice, do we show up on time to our own meetings? Do we listen or do we dominate? Do we admit mistakes or always blame the team? Do we ever go to the front line? If an executive says, people matter, but then screams at a manager in front of others or humiliates someone in an email, that's the real policy. So an employee-first executive is consciously modeling respect, especially under pressure. Curiosity, asking questions instead of assuming. Humility, I don't know, tell me what you're seeing. Fairness, giving credit, not stealing it. Sharing responsibility, not dumping it.
I love that. Now, I want to throw some of the hard questions at you, the ones I know leaders are thinking but don't always say out loud. First one, isn't all this going to be expensive?
Yeah, that one comes up a lot. Short answer, yes, and so is neglect. We have to stop pretending that doing nothing has no cost. There is a huge, silent bill called lost productivity, quiet quitting, turnover, reputational damage, burnout and sick leave, poor customer experience. Investing in your people has a visible cost line. Not investing also has a cost. It's just scattered across different accounts and harder to see. So the real question isn't, is this expensive? The real question is, which cost leads to a healthier, more sustainable business? And I'd bet on investing in people every time.
Okay, second tough one. What if we invest in them and they leave?
Classic. To me, the better question is, what if we don't invest in them and they stay? Then you've got a company full of underdeveloped, disengaged employees who can't or won't bring their best, but they're still on your payroll. I would rather be known as the company where people grow. Some will stay for a long time, some will eventually leave, but they leave better and they become ambassadors. That's a good problem to have.
Last tough one. What about underperformers? Are we supposed to prioritize them too?
Employee first doesn't mean we keep everyone forever. It means we start from a place of respect. We give someone clear expectations, feedback, and support. We try to understand if it's a skill issue, a resources issue, or a motivation issue. If, after fair effort, there's still no improvement, we handle the exit process with dignity. So yes, we prioritize them in the sense that we treat them as humans, not problems, but we don't sacrifice the performance and morale of the whole team indefinitely because one person isn't willing or able to meet the standard.
Okay, let's imagine a CEO is listening right now and thinking, all right, I'm convinced I want this. Where do I actually start? Can you give us a kind of roadmap? Not theory, first steps.
Yeah, let's do a simple roadmap with 6 steps. 1. Align at the top. 2. Listen deeply. 3. Identify a few high-impact changes. 4. Invest in managers. 5. Measure employee health. 6. Repeat the story constantly. Let me go through them like I would in a workshop. Step 1. Align at the top. You can't have an employee-first culture if your executive team secretly believes this is soft nonsense, real business is about numbers. So the first step is an honest conversation at the top where you say, we agree that employees are our primary lever for long-term success. If you don't have that alignment, everything else becomes HR theater. Step 2, listen deeply. Before you decide what employees need, go ask them. That might look like anonymous surveys, but you actually plan to act on them. Focus groups with different departments. Skip-level meetings where executives talk directly to non-managers. Leaders spending time with frontline teams, shadowing, listening, watching. And as you do that, your job is not to defend yourselves, it's to understand. Step 3, identify 3 to 5 high-impact improvements. From all that input, you will hear a lot. Don't try to fix everything at once. Pick 3 to 5 pain points you can address relatively quickly, quick wins that show you're serious. 3 to 5 bigger structural things to work on longer term, like manager development, workload design, career paths. Then put names, timelines, and budgets next to those changes, just like you would a product launch. Step 4, invest in managers. We talked about this, but it's worth repeating. People don't experience the company. They experience their manager. So if you want employees to feel valued, support your managers to become good leaders. That means training them in feedback, coaching, and conflict conversations. Giving them time and space to actually manage, not just do individual contributor work plus admin. And holding them accountable for team well-being and growth, not just output. A brilliant strategy plus weak managers equals frustration. A decent strategy plus strong managers can still win.
Step 5. Measure employee health. Don't just rely on vibes, measure. Look at engagement survey results, voluntary turnover, especially of high performers, internal promotion rates, exit interview themes, burnout indicators, overtime, sick leave patterns. And then treat those numbers with the same seriousness as revenue and profit. Step 6. Tell the story again and again. Finally, keeping this alive is about storytelling. Leaders need to talk about people in town halls, not just numbers. Share examples of times when the company chose to do the right thing for employees. Explain tough decisions through the lens of, we know this impacts people, here's how we thought about it. Culture is built by repetition. If you regularly say and show that employees matter, people begin to believe it.
This is so rich, and honestly, we could go on for another hour. But I want to land the plane. If you could leave every manager, every CEO, every HR leader listening with one question they should keep asking themselves after this episode, what would it be?
Just one? That's mean. Okay, if I had to pick, what does this decision communicate about how we value our people? Every time you approve a budget, launch a new project, set a deadline, promote someone, handle a crisis, ask yourself, if an employee could see how we made this decision, what story would it tell about their value here? If you keep asking that over and over, you start to build a culture where employees feel trusted and respected, customers feel genuinely cared for, and the business becomes more resilient and innovative. Because again, and I really mean this, employees are not just one factor in your success. They are the path to your highest potential.
That's a perfect place to stop. Alex, thank you so much. This has been, honestly, a bit of a mirror for a lot of us, I'm sure. Good mirror, uncomfortable mirror.
Yeah, same. Every time I talk about this, I remember things I wish I'd done differently as a manager. We're all learning.
To everyone listening, if this episode challenged you, that's good. If it convicted you a little, also good. You don't have to overhaul everything overnight, but you can start with one conversation, one decision, one act of respect that signals, in this company, people matter. Not just in slogans, but in reality. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with another manager or business owner who needs to hear it. Subscribe and leave us a review. Alex, thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Maya. It was a pleasure.
All right, everyone, that wraps up this episode. Thank you for investing your time with us today. If you found value in this discussion, please like, subscribe, and share this with fellow managers and leaders who are dedicated to growing their organizations. I'm your host, Maya. Remember, take care of your people and let them take care of your business.